When God sends the right one into your life, you're going to know it. You know how they say when you know, you know? There's a sense of knowing in your spirit that you're going to feel. I want to give you 5 ways you'll know the person that God sent you is from God. Number 1, there will be a sense of peace. There's not going to be confusion, like you're not going to not know where you stand with the person. Because a lot of times when you're dealing with somebody that's not from God, there's always this confusion, like, what are we doing? Or is this the person? Is it not? There's always that uncertainty. But when it's from God, you'll feel that sense of peace. And even if you're not sure in terms of you don't have the full understanding or full spectrum of why the person is in your life, you won't necessarily be confused about where you stand. So number 1 is that there will be a sense of peace. Number 2, there will be a flow. There will be a flow with communication. You guys will be more like in sync with each other. It's not going to be like one is more interested in the other. There will just be this flow and this level of understanding where you don't have to find yourself explaining, because a lot of times that's also something that happens when it's not a person from God, is that you find yourself trying to over explain yourself and trying to prove yourself. But when it's from God, there will be just an automatic understanding, this synchronization in communication, like this just flow and understanding. Number 3 is that you will be compatible. You will be compatible. I know they say opposites do attract, and that is true in one sense, in terms of whatever area you're weak in, the other person may be strong in, and that may be where the opposites attract. But you will still be compatible. It won't be like you're trying to force something or you're trying to make something fit, because when it's not from God, that's when you're trying to squeeze your foot, like, you know, the Cinderella movie where the stepsisters, they were trying to squeeze their foot into the shoe that didn't fit them. That's how it is when it's not from God. But when it's from God, there will be compatibility in terms of your lives will be able to be a good fit. When it's God, he will bring it together for his glory. In order for him to get the glory, it's got to still be a good match. You know, when it's a kingdom match, God knows how to match us together. You know, we choose, but God makes the presentation and he allows your paths to cross. And when he finally does, you will be compatible. You may not be exactly the same, but it will work. Like if you are someone who has children already and you have to blend your family, it will blend well. I'm not saying that there won't be issues, but it still will be where you guys are a good fit for each other, where you complement each other well. Number 4 is alignment. There will be an alignment that will happen because of it being the right timing. If it's God, it's also the right timing. And when it's the right timing, then that means now is the time. That's why you see a lot of people who are believers, it doesn't take them that long to actually get married. It usually don't take them that long to get married because there's a sense of alignment where the timing just works. And even though you may have to work out the logistics, but if God brought you together for such a time as this, then now is the time. And there's really not a need to wait or prolong it, because he would not align you if it wasn't the right time. Number 5 is there will be purpose in that relationship, because the Bible says all things work together to the good of them that love the Lord and are called according to his purpose. So if 2 people love the Lord, there will be purpose involved. There are many ways that God can bring 2 people together. I've heard of stories where 2 people hated each other and somehow God worked on their hearts and they fell in love with each other. I've heard of stories of 2 people were just friends and they didn't even see each other like that. And then God worked on their heart and then they fell in love with each other. And then you have stories like mine where I have done things the wrong way. I was looking for love in all the wrong places. God had to heal me from brokenness, but God will show his grace and his mercy by bringing the healing from brokenness and then aligning you with the right person. When you allow him to do the work, he will bring you together. And when he brings you together, it is right. The timing will be right as well. And when you know, you know. Even when you don't know, God will reveal it to you and he'll reveal it to both people. There shouldn't be one person who think that they're that person's kingdom spouse and saying that God told me that you're my husband or my wife if God hasn't revealed that information to that person, because then that will be like the spirit of delusion. And there's a lot of people going around saying that, but even if you believe God told you, you have to allow God to bring it together. But it won't be extremely hard. That doesn't mean that when you come together, there won't be hard times, but when God is bringing you together, it's God bringing you together. It won't be such a fight or a contention or confusion, because God is not the author of confusion. It just will be right. There will be a flow. And if it's a relationship that you're trying to prove yourself to someone, you're trying to force them to see, that's not of God. Because even if that person is for you, then maybe the timing is not right, and maybe it's you're trying to make it happen. You have to allow God to bring it together, because what God has for you is for you, and nothing can stop that. Not even a person, not a female, not a male. No one can get in between that, because it's a God thing. And what God has joined together, let no man tear apart, let no man put asunder. What God has for you is for you. And when the timing is right, God will align you, and there will be all these things involved. There will be peace, there will be a flow, there will be alignment, there will be compatibility, and there will be a sense of purpose, because it's all about fulfilling the purpose of God. That's the real reason why God has created marriage in the first place, is for him to get the glory. So allow God to get the glory out of your love story.